Hi, welcome to HouseFlippingSpreadsheet.com. You are watching a quick video tutorial on how to set up vendor accounts for contractors, vendors, and suppliers using the vendor setup. Before you start inputting expenses into the expense tracker, you will need to set up your project vendors. So who are project vendors and why do I need to set up vendor information? Project vendors are any contractors, vendors, suppliers, or individuals that you will be paying for goods or services on your project. These will likely be your general contractor, subcontractors, and local home improvement store, but also your bank, utility companies, and even the neighbor boy, Jimmy, who mows the lawn once a week. This vendor information will be used by the expense tracker for tracking expense costs by each vendor, and also by several reports for reporting vendor expenses and tax information. So how do I find vendor setup? You can navigate to vendor setup from the accounting page by clicking on the vendors icon. Let's start by setting up our first vendor, which will be for our general contractor that will be performing most of the work on the project. The first information item is the company name. The company name is a required field because it will be used by the expense tracker and reports for populating expense costs. If you are paying an individual instead of a company for goods or services, such as your neighbor Jimmy, please input their full name under the company name section. The next section is vendor category, which has a drop-down of typical vendor types, such as general contractors, handyman, home improvement stores, and a list of subcontractor categories. If you don't find the vendor category you're looking for, feel free to input your own category. The next section is the company's contact name, which is the company's main contact person for the project and their job title. The next section is where you'll input the company's mailing address information and contact information such as their phone and email address. The vendor category and company contact information is used by the vendor contact list to populate vendor contact information on a printer-friendly report. The final section is where you'll input company tax and insurance information. It's always good practice to ask for vendor tax ID information up front so you can have it available for 1099s at tax season. It's also important to get proof that your contractors maintain valid and current insurance while they are on your project. This information will be used by the vendor tax and insurance report for organizing all of your vendor tax and insurance information for each vendor. The ticker at the top gives you a running tally of the number of active vendor accounts, and the spreadsheet supports up to 100 vendors. Once you've set up the vendor accounts, you can start inputting expenses into the expense tracker. The expense tracker will use these vendor accounts to populate expenses, which will ultimately be reported on numerous vendor reports throughout the spreadsheet. We thank you for watching our quick video tutorial on how to set up your vendors for your projects. If you have any additional questions, feel free to shoot us an email or give us a call. We appreciate your time and business and wish you the best of luck.